The focus of this video is to review some of the figurative language skills that you learned last week in class. We focused in class on the metaphors, similes, personification, hyperbole, and idioms. Let's review what figurative language is. Whenever you describe something by comparing it with something else, you are using figurative language. There's different types of figurative language that we can use. We can use imagery using our senses, a simile or a metaphor. We can use personification, hyperbole, and idioms. Let's start with a metaphor. A metaphor is a figure of speech which compares two things without using like or as. The road was a ribbon wrapped through the desert. When you look at this picture, you can certainly see that comparison. They're comparing the road to a ribbon. A metaphor compares two unlike things. My baby sister's a doll, you might say, and compares your sister's size and sweetness to that of the perfection of a doll. And another time you might say, my brother is a rat. This compares your brother to the nastiest little creature you can think of. In both cases, you would be making a metaphor, a form of comparison that directly compares two unlike things. A metaphor usually wastes no time in getting right to the point. Metaphors are used to compare two things. A metaphor that one thing is another thing. Another example, she is a pig. I'm comparing her to a pig. I probably mean she's got a big appetite and likes to eat. A simile is a little bit different, but it does the same thing for an author. It involves a direct comparison between two unlike things, but usually they use the word like or as. Here's an example. The muscles on his brawny arms are as strong as iron bands. I'm comparing his arms to iron bands, and I'm doing so by using the word as. Do you remember who said, life is like a box of chocolates? Well, Forrest Gump was comparing life to a box of chocolates. He means that we never know what life has planned for us. Personification is a figure of speech which gives the qualities of a person to an animal, an object, or an idea. Here's an example. The wind yells while blowing. People yell. The wind cannot yell. Only a living thing can yell. So this is an example of personification, making it like a person. Hyperbole is an exaggerated statement used to heighten effect, usually not to mislead the reader, but to emphasize a point. Here's an example. She's said so on several million occasions. She's probably said it several times. But several million? This author wanted to use hyperbole to exaggerate the fact that she's heard this story several times and they were getting really sick of it. So exaggerating it here makes it perfect for the audience to feel the reader's pain in hearing that same story. Idioms are another piece of figurative language. It usually refers to an expression that can't really be matched or directly translated word for word in another language. For example, she has a bee in her bonnet does not literally mean there are bees in her bonnet. Instead, it means that she's obsessed and she can't really put that away until she gets it done. And she keeps talking about it over and over again. So it can't really be translated into another language word for word. If they literally translated bee in her bonnet, people would be picturing just that, a bee caught in her hat. Now, another way we can think of it is there are groups of words whose meaning is different from the ordinary meaning. Here's another example. Put a lid on it. If our teacher tells us to put a lid on it, she's really not telling us to put a lid on something. Instead, she wants you to be quiet and pay attention. So, put a lid on it. Now you're going to take a quiz. You've watched the video, you've reviewed your figurative language level, and now you're going to test your skills. So, take a minute and go and take your quiz. Good luck.